Hi, I'm Beck and Food's My Life. Today I'm making roti and it's coming right up. So today I'm making a kind of Sri Lankan flatbread and it's called Godamba roti. When people think of roti, they often think of a kind of like a naan bread, but Godamba roti is completely different. It's really thin and the texture is really quite elastic and stretchy, which makes it perfect for when you're scooping up a yummy curry with that roti. My nana was an expert at making Godamba roti, so I really hope I can do it justice today. It's a bit of a procedure, it's quite involved, but the outcome is always worth it. So in this bowl here, I have 7 cups of plain flour. The first thing we need to do is sift this 7 cups of plain flour into a large bowl along with 3 teaspoons of salt. Next, in this bowl, I have lightly whisked 2 large eggs, and in this jug, I have 500 ml of warm water. What we're going to do is make a bit of a well in the middle of my flour and add the eggs. Now, using our hands, we're going to combine this, bring it all together while slowly adding the warm water until we get that right consistency, until this has come together as a dough. So once that dough has come together in the bowl, it's now time to grab a well-floured board or flour your bench top, and we're going to turn this dough onto the board. And if you haven't gone to the gym today, you won't need to, because we're about to do an arm workout that's going to last about 20 minutes. So set your timer for 20 minutes and we're going to knead this dough for that length of time. Now, as you can see over here, I have a bowl of melted ghee. This is half a cup of ghee. And as we knead this dough, I'm going to slowly start to incorporate about half of this. So about 1/4 of a cup of ghee is going to be incorporated into my dough as I knead it. Oh, finally, I have reached the 20-minute mark. And I tell you what, my arms feel like they're about to drop off, but that's okay. It's pain with a purpose, because these rotis are going to be sensational. And you can see that that dough is nice and smooth now. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut this dough into small sized balls that are going to become each of the individual rotis. Okay, so I chopped my dough up and I've ended up with 20 individual little rotis. Now what we have to do is take each ball at a time, bring back that reserved 1/4 cup of ghee, and just with your fingers, get some ghee on your fingers and work that ghee into each and every little ball. So we're kind of like kneading it all over again, just individually. Just for a little while, until we work that ghee in. This puts a lot of oil into each little roti, which is comes in handy when we're frying them, cooking them on the stove. Okay, then we're going to set that aside to rest. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to each and every one of these 20 little roti balls, and then I'll tell you the next step. Now that ghee, of course, is not only good for you, but it adds a beautiful flavour to these roti. In fact, these roti are so yummy, I could just eat them on their own. Okay, so I've done all my little rotis individually now, kneaded them with some ghee. If you've got a little bit of ghee left over, just cover each ball with a little bit of oil. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get a warm, damp tea towel and cover these little rotis for at least an hour, giving them some time to rest. So my Godamba roti balls have had a good hour to rest, at least an hour. I'll just explain the setup to you. So I've got my rotis here. I've got a pancake pan here, which works really well to cook goddies. So you need a nice flat pan. Ultimately, the barbecue plate works best, but I couldn't be bothered setting up the barbecue today, so I'm doing it on the stovetop. Then here, I've got another flat tray. Now this is an old pizza tray that I made at high school actually, and we've always kept this in the cupboard because we use it for our Godamba rotis. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take each Godamba, we're going to flatten it on the tray first, and then cook it on the hot plate. We've also got some more ghee on hand that we're going to use to oil the plate as we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to oil our tray, and then one at a time, we take our Godamba roti ball and we're going to press it into a large round shape. Now try and get this as thin as you can, because the minute you lift it off this tray, it is going to shrink. Now, of course, when you watch the pros doing this, when I'm in Sri Lanka, they don't do it like this at all. They have a knack of, they've got a special way of how they whip it onto the plate and it becomes nice and large. But of course, I don't know that trick and I've never tried. And they get theirs really thin. But this is not a bad home version. Okay, so when you think you've got it as thin as you can, oil your plate again. So this is on a medium to high heat. Carefully lift your roti and place it on that hot plate. Stand by. You're going to flip it over soon. We don't want to burn it. So just keep an eye on it and give it a flip. Don't wait too long. That's nice. We've got a little bit of browning on it. It takes a while to get your stove at the right heat as well, and that's a really important thing, is making sure that this is the right heat. It's not too hot and not hot enough. Keep flipping it over until you're happy with the brown. And that's pretty much done. So, just keep on repeating the process. And there you have it, 20 yummy Godamba rotis. Now, just a couple of things I want to reiterate. Remember, there are some really important points. When you've made your dough and you've rolled them into those little individual balls, at least 1 hour they need to rest. I think the longer the time they can rest, the better. The softer that dough is going to be and the lighter the end result will be. The next thing is, it's the temperature of your stove or your barbecue, whatever you're using. It's that fine line between hot enough so that it puffs them up as soon as they come onto the hot plate, but you also don't want it too hot so that it burns them. So it's a bit of trial and error. To be honest with you, as I went along, I was getting better at it. So towards the end, my Godamba rotis were turning out a lot better. And finally, if 20 of them is too much for you, or if you've made double batch and you want to keep some for later, these freeze really well. So cook them just like I have. put aside what you want to freeze, and then when you want to eat them again, they come alive really well in the grill or back in the oven just for a little while to warm them up. They're good to go. So now it's time for taste test. And I'm very lucky that I just so happen to make a pot of dhal. So if you're going to try making godambas, these are just beautiful, dipped into a lovely, I don't know, lamb curry, chicken curry, anything really. But they're also good dipped into dhal. So here I go. Let's have a go. That's beautiful. These gothies taste as beautiful on their own. I could just keep on eating them like this. That ghee gives them such a beautiful flavour. Okay, so maybe they're not 100% like my nanny used to make. She was the expert, but you know what? These are pretty close. Now, if you want to try making Godamba rotis, then you better check out my other video on how to make spicy dhal, because these two really are a marriage made in heaven. So if you'd like to have a go at making these beautiful Sri Lankan flatbreads, Godamba roti, please check out the description box below, find my website and find the link to the recipe. If you've liked this video, please give me a thumbs up, or don't forget to share the video, or better still, subscribe so you can always see what I'm up to in the kitchen. And I'll see you next time.